Q&A for Pupford. My name is Tracy Masson. I'm a certified professional dog trainer and a certified um, behavior consultant. Sorry. Um, and I'm so excited to be here tonight. I'm going to talk about a couple things while people are jumping on. First, yesterday I got a call in the morning and, hi Emily, and my mom had been in a car accident and I had to run to Salt Lake. And I ended up spending the night and um, I had to hurry and make phone calls to get all my dogs and cat and everything taken care of. So I have a cat that's on insulin, thyroid medicine, blood pressure medicine. I have a dog on prednisone and another medicine. And I have a foster dog right now. And so it's really important that you have a backup plan in place just in case something happens. Um, I also just went with no change of clothes, no toothbrush, nothing. So I now have a go bag in my car for things just like this because you never know when you're going to have to leave and not know how long you're going to be gone. Hi, Julie. So, since we all have animals, I'm assuming that if you're tuning in, you have animals. Make sure you have a backup plan or a plan in place in case you have to hurry and leave and you're not sure when you're going to come back. So, luckily, my cousin was around and he did not have an ambulance shift that night, so he was able to do it, but I still had to email him all the instructions. Hi, Anthony, welcome back. I had to email him all the instructions of how much to feed, um, how to feed, because I have, several animals, so some of them get fed separately, how much insulin to give the cat, all that stuff. So it's good to have it all written down somewhere, on your fridge, and have somebody that you can call um, if you need to. Hi, Nicole, and happy birthday to Wilma. It's Wilma's birthday today. That's awesome. That might be a celebration. That might be a reason to go out and get cake after this. So, the second, oh, Nicole, did you do anything for Wilma's birthday? I actually have thrown my dogs a birthday party before. So I had a birthday party. I had party hats. Um, every dog that came got a go home um, bag of goodies with treats, balls. Like we had doggy ice cream. It was ridiculous, but I did all that for one of my pit bulls. So yeah, we had a full on birthday party in the backyard. Um, and I usually try and give my dogs doggy ice cream or something for their birthday, but oh, she had a puppy cake and puppy ice cream, and we are going out for chicken tonight. Awesome. That's so much fun. So the other thing I wanted to talk about tonight is body language while we're getting while people are jumping on. So Pupford wanted me or asked me if I would just kind of talk about body language tonight, which is super important because that's how dogs communicate. So the first thing is you want to look at the whole body. So I have two dogs that don't have tails. Um, they are bulldog mixes, French bulldog, English bulldog, and they both have corkscrew tails. And Daphne actually had to have hers amputated. So you can't tell if her tail's high and stiff or wagging or tucked. You can't tell anything from her tail. So we have to look at the whole body. And also, a lot of people will say, oh, my dog was wagging his or her tail, so I figured that it was friendly. But it depends on where it's wagging, how it's wagging. So, a low, almost tucked tail is really scared and nervous. If it's neutral with the body and the whole butt's wiggling, then it's friendly. If it's high and stiff, then that's usually a dog that's on alert and is ready to act if necessary. So, and the other that's really important to look at the whole body is that some dogs have a high tail anyway, like, Huskies, Malamutes, some of those breeds are going to have a high tail anyway. So you want to look at kind of the base of the tail and see if it's above the spine or below the spine. So that's a way that you can tell too. Um, Another way that I tell is like if a dog, look at the ears. So like if the ears are like totally pinned back, that could be, an aggressive dog. Sometimes they'll pin their ears back if they're being like really submissive or if they're fearful. I'll also look at the eyes. Um, I'll look at the sides of the mouth to see like if they're pulled all the way back and they've got like the wrinkles and the wrinkles in their forehead. That's more like a dog that's on alert. Um, just like a dog that does like a lip curl is just kind of a warning. So most dogs will give a warning before they bite. So they'll do a little lip curl, and then they might show more teeth, and then they might growl, and then they might bite. Um, if a dog is full on like showing you his whole set of teeth, that's a dog that means business, and they're like, hey, this is my like whole armor. This is what I have, and you better not mess with me. So, and then I wanted to talk about the rollover. Hi, Renee. Renee, where are you from? I'm not even going to try and pronounce your last name. If I had to guess, I would say Chazuski. Was I even close? I'm writing everybody's name down while we're going as well for the drawing. So, hi, David. Oh, Illinois. Okay, great. And David from Oregon. So, I hear a lot of people say, oh, the dog was on its back and showing me its belly, so I was doing a belly rub. And sometimes dogs will roll on their back. Like Jade will do that all the time. Like she'll roll and just want a belly rub, and she just like, it's really kind of a plaything for her. But if you have a dog that's on its back and you can see the tail tucked, mouth closed, kind of whale eye, and maybe some lip licking, that's a dog that is like tapping out and is super scared. So that's a dog that really doesn't want a belly rub, and if you don't stop, that you may get bitten. So you kind of, that's why it's really important to look at the whole body and say, oh, well, the dog's rolling over, but he's like kind of frozen. We have two of you tonight. Okay, so I'm just going to put Renee and Brian. Then I don't have to spell your last name twice, but you'll both be entered in the drawing. So that's why you want to look at the whole body. So look and see if the if they're doing like what I call whale eye. So that's like if you see the whites of their eye, that can be a sign that they're really, really nervous and they may bite. If they're kind of frozen, mouth closed, and their tail's tucked, they can still tuck their tail if they're on their back. And lip licking, that's a really, really nervous dog. Hi, Marion. So yeah, if the tail is up and curly, that's why you want to look at the whole dog. But you can also look at the base of the tail. So if the base of the tail is above the spine, then that's more a dog that's on alert and is kind of like in that, it's ready to rock and roll if it needs to. If the base of the tail is below the spine and it's wagging, then it's probably a more relaxed dog. And you also want to see how it's wagging. So if the whole butt's wiggling and the dog's really loose, it's probably really happy and wants to see you. If the tail's like really stiff and just kind of like like very tightly wagging, then that's probably a dog that's on alert and is not like a really friendly dog that just wants to play. So a lot of times we call it distance increasing and distance decreasing, um, signals. So some dogs will do things that are like distance decreasing, like a play bow. So if a dog does a play bow, that's a dog that's saying, "Hey, let's play." Um, and sometimes when I have Jade in puppy class, a lot of times she'll lay down, and that's kind of her saying, "Look, I'm not a threat. I just want to play," and that's called self-handicapping. So she's making herself smaller for the puppies to come and play with. And a lot of times, like she'll roll on her back and let them jump on her and things like that. Um, a distance increasing would be like a growl, showing teeth, high stiff tail. That's a dog that's saying, okay, you better back off, and a growl goes along with that too. Um, so you definitely want to look at the whole body and see what the whole body is doing. Um, and then you guys that are asking questions, I will come back and answer those, I promise. Um, so in my reactive dog class, we were doing pass bys, which is where we just like pass by each other. And then like retreat. So I had people like walking towards each other and practicing like a let's go and turn and go the other way. And they were supposed to turn and go, but the dogs kind of pulled on the end of their leash and they stopped. And I could tell that the dogs were going to react. And they did. Right as I was ready to step in between them and break their eye contact, they like lunged at each other. And I asked the question, I said, how many of you could tell that that was going to happen? And there was only one student in the class that could tell, and then the trainers and the helpers that have been around it a lot. Um, and those of us that could tell, it's like the dogs were forward on their front legs, so they weren't like back. They were forward. They froze. Mouth was closed, and they had direct eye contact. They were staring. So hard stare is a threat. And so, like I said, just as I was ready to step in between them and break their stare, they like lunged at each other. So it's really important. Also, when you're doing, since a lot of you have puppies, if you're doing socialization and like sound socialization or meeting other dogs or meeting people, it's really important to watch your dog's body language, because if your dog is really scared, like tail tucked, ears back, trying to move away, then that's a dog that wants space. And when we're doing socialization, we always want to allow the dog to have choice and control over their environment. So, like if I was doing thunder work or thunderstorms or fireworks, and a dog like cowered a little bit or ears back, I would decrease the sound. If the dog's like super loose and wiggly and eating treats, then that dog is fine, and I would increase the sound. If a dog is like hiding behind its owner, that's a dog that does not want a stranger to come and pick it up and handle it. Back in the day, we used to do a thing called pass the puppy, and we would sit in a circle and we'd all pass the puppy to the right and socialize and pass the puppy. We don't do that anymore because not all puppies like that, and it might be really scary for the puppy. Um, and that would be like a total stranger coming up to you and saying, "Oh, can I touch your hair? Can I like play with your face?" And you're like, "Okay, you're a stranger. Like back away." And so not all dogs are going to love that. So it's really important to watch your dog's body language, and if they're super loose and they're like, "Oh yeah, come pet me," then you can allow a stranger to come up. And I always like put my hand out and let the dog come and take a treat first, and then start to pet, and then allow the dog to back away. But if the dog is like cowering, hiding, then that's a dog that you don't want to just let a stranger, pick it up and maul it, like smother it with love and kisses, because the dog's not perceiving that as love and kisses. So hopefully that makes sense. There's some great Actually, Pupford has a dog body language course that we did, and so it goes into a lot more detail about we talk about ears, we talk about eyes, mouth, tail, body. We talk about all that in length. So if you want to know more about body language, check out the Pupford Academy course. And if you have questions tonight about body language, I'm happy to answer those as well. Okay, so let's get down to some questions. So David asks, my puppy is having an issue with potty training still. Um, do you have products that are safe for my puppy for bathing? I don't want to overbathe her and dry out her skin. Um, okay, so let me answer the first part. So with the issues with potty training, like specifically what issues? And really for any potty training, it kind of comes down to well, I'll tell you what I do when I have a puppy here. So I actually have a puppy in my house right now that's doing board and train. So first thing in the morning, before I even feed them, out of the crate and we go outside to potty. And then we come back in, we eat breakfast, and a half hour later, we go back out to go potty. And it depends on the dog. So the smaller dogs, I have a little French bulldog that comes and stays with me a lot. His bladder is a lot smaller, and so we go out a lot more often because he just can't hold it as long. Um, and then after a nap, if I'm writing training plans or doing something and I can't supervise, then the dogs are either outside in the yard playing or they're crated. Because if you don't catch them having an accident, there's nothing you can do. Sometimes, so what I did with little Maui, it's a good thing he's cute, you guys, because he he knows how to use the dog door now, and he will go through the dog door to go out and play. But if he needs to potty, he'll go right to the back door. He'll potty and then go through the dog door. But he doesn't go through the dog door to potty. But he'll go through it to play. So now I have to supervise him. So I tether him to me. If I can watch him, then he can play and run around and whatever. But if I see him kind of start to sneak off and go towards the back door, I follow him and immediately take him outside and say go potty. And then I reward him for going potty outside. So it's just a lot of consistency and making sure that you're taking your dog out really frequently to go potty. Yesterday I was with a client and we had done about 45 minutes of, we were doing some little short training exercises and then some socialization, some handling, things like that. But that's a lot of work. And I was using the Pupford salmon treats, and that was making the dog thirsty. So the owner and I were chatting, and the dog went to the door and squatted. And so right then, the owner didn't see it. I saw it. So I said, hey, and then immediately picked the dog up and took him outside. Now, unfortunately, by the time I got to him, he'd already emptied his bladder. But I still took him outside and walked him around on the grass. So, so basically, if you can't watch them, I would either crate or tether them to you so that you can always catch them having accidents. Um, and then it's just a lot of consistency and getting on a schedule. Also, if you're free feeding, I would feed regular meals just so that puts them on a schedule as well. You should always take them out, like I said, first thing in the morning, after meals, after a nap, after a play session. So the more active the dog is, the more they have to go. So kind of like this dog, we were doing training things and we had the dog walking on surfaces and we were doing treats and water and it was like 45 minutes and then the dog had to go. So um, speaking of which, I have a new foster dog, and if he gets up, I'll show him to you. He has what's called hemovertebrae, and he's incontinent, and so I can smell something, and so I think he probably had an accident, and I wasn't watching him to catch it, but like he can't help it, and he can't really use his back. I mean, he kind of can use his back legs, but he pretty much just drags himself. Um, so when I can't watch him, he's either crated or outside. But I just had brought him in to eat dinner and stuff like that, and then I jumped on here and I wasn't watching him. So if he did have an accident, it was totally my fault. And now he's sleeping on the bed, so about the only thing I can do is go clean it up after. Um, and so for your second question, have you seen the new product out? Pupford just put a product out. It's like a dry shampoo, and I think it works amazing. So I used to use like the wipes. So you can get. I know Paul Mitchell put some out, and there's other companies that have like they just look like wet wipes, and you can like wash your dog off. So with Jade being a service dog in training, and she's my girl that plays like a boy. She's always in the pool, and then she rolls in the dirt. And then she has to go out in public a lot. So I don't have time to give her a bath every day, and I don't want it to dry her skin out. So I was using the wipes just to wipe her down. But Pupford sent me some of their new dry shampoo product to try, and I love it. So in between shampoos, you can just like sprinkle it on, brush it in your dog's fur, and it will help keep them clean and smell good. So if you haven't tried that, try it because I think it's a really great product, and I've tried it on my dogs and I love it. But probably, there's other products out there from Chewy or Petco. Of course, I'm always going to recommend Pupford stuff first, and I love their products. And also, I don't love to shop, so the fact that they'll just send it right to me, although I know Chewy will too. Um, but I love to support, smaller and more local, like they're local for me. So, but I think it's a really great product. But yeah, any of the wet wipe type of things that are specifically for dogs. There's also kind of a foam, and I don't know what brand it is, but it's for dogs. So you like put it on, you just like it's like mousse, like people that put mousse in their hair. It's like a mousse, and then you just lather it into your dog, but you don't rinse it out. So you could use that as well. So yeah, there's lots of products out there. So hopefully that answered your question. Okay, Betty is asked also potty training question. Hopefully, Betty, I answered your question um, with the other one about potty training. David's question. A lot of times, the reason that dogs always go on the carpet is because carpet feels the most like grass. Um, and if you don't get the smell out all the way, then they're going to keep going there because it still has the smell. Um, so you want to try and clean it up as soon as you can to get it from seeping down into the carpet. I asked this question to my carpet guy. I just had my carpets clean, and he said, I know you have to like hurry and get the dog out, but the quicker that you can put paper towels on it and let it soak up, the better, because then it doesn't get down into the pads. Because then it's really hard to get the smell out. But you want to use like a neutralizing cleaner. Like Pupford also has a great stain remover carpet cleaner that you can spray on, and it helps neutralize the smell. And so it'll kind of keep dogs from going in the same place. But a lot of times, if a dog keeps going to the carpet, it's either because it feels like grass or they've gone there before and the scent is still there. So I would try cleaning that area really good. And then again, you have to catch your dog. So with the dogs that come to my house for board and train, I noticed that like they'll always be playing with my dogs and they roughhouse and they run through the house. But as soon as I see one start to like walk away and like go out of sight, then I'm on it. And it's like, okay, do we need to go potty? Let's go outside and go potty. And then I take them through the dog door, outside, go potty, and then reward them for going potty outside. So you kind of learn to pick up on those little things like, they're playing, they're running around, and then all of a sudden one takes off. That's my cue to go get them because they're probably about ready to have an accident. Um, so yeah, I would try that, and then always when you dog out, reward them outside for going, and then if you do catch them going on the carpet, you want to interrupt. So I'll say, hey, and then immediately take them outside, and then reward for outside pottying. So hopefully that helps. Luckily, downstairs I only have tile and hardwood floors, and then just rugs, which is great because I now have an incontinent foster dog. So he doesn't go upstairs where there's carpet, and downstairs it's easy enough to clean up. But I think even if he was potty trained, I don't think he could make it to the back door fast enough um, to go potty before he lets it out. So, um, okay, so David's asking, okay, this is a really good question. What do you do when you take your pup to go out potty and she decides to pick up leaves, pine cones, etc.? Um, that's a really good question because I see this a lot when I go to clients' houses. Like they'll let their dog out and the dog's running around, playing, eating grass, picking stuff up. And what I do is I have them put a leash on the dog and just keep walking them around. If they go to pick up leaves or pine cones, that's when we try leave it. So we start to learn leave it. And I just keep saying, we're going potty, and you want to make it as boring as possible. So they're on leash. Because what can happen is if they're off leash and they're wandering and picking stuff up, they're not thinking about going potty. And then you might think, oh, they don't need to go. And then they come back in, and then it suddenly dawns on them, oh, yeah, I've got to go to the bathroom. And then they do it inside. So um, I will put them on leash, walk them around, make it as boring as possible so that they don't have any choice but to like go potty. And then after they go potty, then I unleash them, and that can be a reward. It's like, okay, go play. Now you can go sniff and explore and have fun. Although I would still kind of do a leave it with the leaves and the pine cones, but they can still like go play and explore. So hopefully did that answer your question? So yeah, I always do it on leash, and I always just walk around with them until they go. And if it's a puppy, if you walk around a lot and they don't go, then when they come back in, I put them back in their crate. So they get crated until they've peed and pooped, and then they get free roam of the house. Otherwise, they go back in the crate until they've gone. And I might try it again like in 20 minutes, take them back out on leash, walk them around, do the same thing. Okay, so Brian is asking, our puppy, 8 months old, has been spayed last month, still won't go back in her crate voluntarily. The donut might have freaked her out. When I put her in, she just sits there and pants. Okay. Yeah, so it could have been the donut. It could have been that when she was spayed and they put her, in the kennel or crate at the vet's office, it could have like freaked her out or scared her. So I would actually start over with crate training. And that means putting a treat right at the outside of the door, and then right inside, and then a little farther, and then allow the dog to go in, turn around, come out, go in, turn around, come out, several times before I even start to close the door. And then the dog will go in to get the treat. I'll close the door, open it, let the dog come out. So I actually start crate training all over again and use really high value treats. So use like the salmon treats, use hot dogs, use cheese, boiled chicken, something really good that your dog's going to want to go in, but you just do it so gradual. So like just right up to the crate. If your dog won't even walk up to the crate, then do a little Hansel and Gretel trail, like right up to the crate. And then so they just put their head right inside and then they can back away. So it's really important that at first you allow the dog to take the treat and back away, take the treat and back away. And then they'll take one more step back away. until they're going in, turning around, coming out. Um, so I just break it up into little teeny mini criteria and kind of work on it that way. So, David, if you and Renee want to email me, I'm going to put my email in the chat right now. If you want to email me, I will send you my handout on crate training and see if that helps. Um, the other thing, and I'm going to turn my ringer off on my phone really quick. Hang on. Sorry, you could hear my phone beeping and it was bugging me. Um, the other thing that you can do is make the crate a really fun place to be. So, like right now, my crate is like the door's just open. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can show you. So this, it might be. This is my dog's. I mean, I have a great big huge crate, and the door's just open, kind of backwards. I'm not moving it the right way. Let's see. I'm going the wrong way. Anyway, the door's open. I have a huge bed in there, but they also get their really yummy stuff in there. So when I do stuffed Kongs, bully sticks, yak chews, I do it like in the crate. So the dogs know I love being in here because this is where I get to relax and enjoy my super yummy treat, whatever that is. So save the fun stuff and give it to your dog in the crate. And you can put it in there at first and then let them go in and get it and come out. And then eventually they go in there and you can close the door. So I would try that maybe. And yeah, it says yeah, she will not go in no matter what. I have tried everything. Um, yeah, so what, like, sometimes you can break it down even more. So if you've tried everything, like try starting 20 feet back with a treat and then slowly getting closer, slowly getting closer, slowly getting closer. So you can always back up. And then if your dog will go 10 feet in front of the crate, but not 20, or we'll go 20, but not 10, then do 15. And you can always break it up. And then you can start when your dog goes in, instead of closing the door all the way, just like close it a little and then open. Close it a little, open. So just continue to break it down. And I would maybe try something super high value like gizzards. Like I just bought, this is so disgusting, you guys. I just bought chicken gizzards and chicken hearts. And I cut them up into little pieces and I freeze them. And that's my super high value, better than anything treat for my dogs. Um, so you could try something like that. You could do a Kong with peanut butter or baby food. You could do like a lick mat in there. Licking helps to calm and soothe. So if you do a lick mat with peanut butter or baby food or pumpkin, and let your dog lick it in there, that might help and help calm her down at the same time. So I would try those things as well. And then maybe just leave the door open and have a comfy bed. I've got blankets in there, water, and my dogs just kind of go in on their own and chill. So it might take a little bit of time because now that your dog has a negative association of the crate, now we've got to change that association. So we always want it to be fun and super rewarding. And yeah, it may take time and you may have to just keep breaking it down into smaller and smaller criteria. Okay, let's see. Okay, I got David, Oregon. Anita. Hi, Anita. From Florida. Oh, and Betty, where are you from? And then I can enter you in the drawing. My son's running out. Okay. And yeah, Brian and Ray, email me and I'll send you my handout for crate training. It's pretty much everything I just described, but at least you'll have it like in written form, um, and and you can work on that. You might even try starting by just walking up to the crate and treating, and then retreat, and walking up to the crate, and then just like walking by the crate and treating, and just continue to do that until your dog gets like comfortable walking up to it, walking by it, and then you can put like 3 treats right outside the door, and then just right inside the door. Um, and then sometimes we have to experiment with different treats to see like what is going to be what our dog's going to like. So interestingly, in puppy class, I had a dog that spit out every single treat I gave him. I mean, I did salmon, I did rabbit, I did beef liver, and this dog would only eat 4 milk bones. So when we were teaching Leave It, and the way I teach Leave It is you don't ever get it, but you get something better. We were actually having her leave the salmon treats, and her better than anything was her milk bone. So the dog gets to decide what is rewarding and what's not. I was working with a family today with a dog that's kind of been aggressive um, towards people, and they were practicing some stuff, but they were just using the dog's kibble. And I said, part of what we're doing is changing the dog's emotional response, and we want the dog to associate people with really yummy stuff. And if you're just using kibble, then the dog's going to be like, I don't really care about kibble. It's not really rewarding, so I really don't want to do this. And I still think I don't like people because when they're around, all I get is kibble. So that's why you want to like really use the high value stuff. Try like squeeze cheese. Um, like I said, and now with baby food, I mean, I buy baby food and freeze it in the little teeny jars because Maddie gets acupuncture, so we just let her lick the frozen baby food right out of the jar. But now they have pouches that you can squeeze out. They have all kinds of things, so you could try any of that kind of stuff. Okay, Kim Everett. I have an 8-month-old Labrador. We cannot get her to leave the cat alone. Any tips? Um, yeah. So is it I want to play with the cat, or is it a I want to eat you kind of thing? Um, because there's a difference. Either way, you always want to make sure that the cat has an escape route. So I have baby gates, um, and my baby gates have the little cat door, so the cat can escape, but the dogs can't get to the cat. And then I also have a cat condo, so the cat can jump up into the condo, and the dogs can't get to the cat. When you're getting dogs and cats used to each other, it's good to like start with a closed door, let them sniff under the door, um, let them, and then maybe do a baby gate so that they get used to each other. Okay, so she wants to play. So let them like kind of get used to each other through a baby gate. Um, and then, if she starts to play too rough, if like, does your cat correct her? Because most cats will swat. Like every time I have a new dog come, the cat wants to swat at him because my cat's old and grumpy and he doesn't want to play. So they just kind of know to back off and then they leave the dog alone or the cat alone. So, if your cat swats and says like back off, that's too hard, then if your dog doesn't take the hint, then I would, say like, okay, enough, stop, and then redirect your dog to do something else. So like you could do a snuffle mat, a puzzle toy, treat dispensing toy, something like that, or like a go to your mat and here's a bully stick type thing. So you could redirect the dog to do something else. Um, And then again, always give the cat a way to get away from the dog. So like, and they have those cat treats too, where the cat can get up high and things like that. So sometimes it's just a matter of them getting used to each other and their play styles. Um, okay, so uh, going back to Brian's, I just read Marion's great suggestion about the really stinky treats. Um, if if you're using the really high value stinky stuff and your dog doesn't want it, then your dog may at that point need medication. So I know some people are really anti-medication. At 8 months, your dog's kind of a adolescent teenager, and without seeing body language, it's hard to tell whether it's like a fear thing or whether the dog is just like I don't want to go in type, like trying to push the boundaries type thing. Um, if it's a fear thing and you've tried all the really strong stinky stuff, then I would talk to your vet about some anti-anxiety medicine and see if that helps so that if we can lower that threshold a little bit, get your dog calmer, and then do it and get your dog used to the crate, then you can start then weaning off the medication. So if you've tried like everything under the sun and your dog won't take any of it with the crate, then I think it's time. I mean, you could start with trying like CBD oil, um, things like that. But you may need to go to the vet and get some kind of medication just to help your dog like calm down. So, um, oh, so your cat's actually smacked her and bit her, and she doesn't back off. Wow, that is a strong dog. It's funny because I have three pit bulls and English French bulldog pit bull mix, and they all have a very healthy respect for the cat. Um, they walk in the room and look to see where the cat is because the cat has smacked them and hissed at them enough that they do not mess with the cat. Um, so yeah, if um, if the cat corrects the dog and the dog doesn't back away, then that's when you step in and kind of say, okay, time out. And it's not really that the dog's doing anything wrong, but you're just saying, okay, too rough, and then give your dog like a 1 minute timeout. Just to like decompress and then let her go back and play. And then if she starts playing too rough again, another timeout. And then sometimes you may have to do a longer timeout. And when you do a timeout, I would, you can just take your dog out and, do a 1 minute timeout, or you can do a crate, but put a toy or something fun in the crate so that it's not a punishment for the dog to go in the crate. So try that. Um, wow, Brian, you really have tried everything. I'm gonna try a peanut butter pad next. Yeah, and if you get the lick mats, there's a lot of things you can put on lick mats. Like we used to um, mix peanut butter and pumpkin together, and then put some kibble and treats in it, mix it all up, and then we would stuff it in Kongs or spread it on a lick mat. So you could try that. Yeah, if you're using that good of stuff and your dog still um, like doesn't want any part of it, then I would talk to your vet about some anti-anxiety medicine. Because it sounds like your dog's just like super scared of the crate and super um, nervous. So we may need a little bit of medication help to help calm your dog down, and then you can go through the crate training again, and then take your dog off the meds. And you probably already know this, but you also don't ever want um, to put your dog in for like a punishment because we don't want any bad association with the crate. Maddie, do you need to go outside? Can you go potty? Maddie's like gone to the back door twice. Okay, I'm gonna let these guys. Do you need to go potty? Huh? Okay, I'll be right back. Hey guys, let's go potty. Hi. Okay, sorry, I already have to clean up one accident. I didn't want to clean up. Okay, I'm just going back to see if I missed any questions. So if you missed the first, we talked about dog body language today, so you can go back and kind of review, look at the recording. Oh, let's see, Fachevsky. Wow, I wasn't even close. Okay. It covered the potty training, the bathing. Um, okay. Does anybody else have any questions? Well, we might be getting done early tonight. Um, oh, Kim says she keeps us on our toes compared to our dogs. Yeah, I know, I get that. I have to watch my cat constantly. He is like 19. He's insulin dependent, hyperthyroid, hypertensive. He has like runny poop all the time, and he's got allergies, and so I have to watch him all the time because he'll have accidents, he'll throw up. Um, the dogs don't mess with him, which is good, but yeah, I have to watch him just as much as I have to watch the dogs. So, oh, and you have the Pupford lick mats. That's good. I use those a lot. In fact, the little ones I give away in my puppy classes. We do like socialization bingo, and we do puppy push-up contests, and I give the Pupford lick mats away for as prizes, and they love them. So, yeah, you can, and you could even like put a bed outside of the crate and let your dog lay on the bed outside of the crate and do a lick mat, and then maybe like put it in a little bit, put it in a little bit, put it in a little bit until the bed is inside of the crate, and have your dog go in without closing the door. So we call that splitting, and the easiest way to think about it is like take the act of going in the crate and break it down into little teeny pieces. And then start with the very easiest and start at a distance to where your dog can handle it, and then totally gradually work your way into, working towards your goal and what you want. Um, let's see. Okay, Julie says, I should have named Ellie Houdini. She escaped once again. She went missing for an hour. Oh my gosh, I would have freaked. Thank goodness I got her on the Ring camera and figured out where she got out. Until yesterday, where I got a text saying she got out again. Wow. Um, that's that's crazy. Like I have pit bull. I knew that pit bulls were escape artists. I'd heard that. I had no idea. My almost every single dog that I've had has been able to escape. They either jump the fence, or they go under the fence, or they push their way through the gate. Um, they've like all escaped at one time or another. It's really hard sometimes to actually keep dogs in. So yes, I feel your pain because I have the same problem. And sometimes, yeah, you have to kind of watch them and see how they're doing it to fix it. Okay, Yumi has a question. Yumi, I'm just writing your name down. And if you could tell me where you're from, I can enter you into the drawing. Um, okay, my dog loves other dogs, but sometimes he doesn't leave them alone. My friend's dog got angry because he was following him. If I see this again, should I leash my dog and give him a break or time out? Yes. So I would let the other dog correct your dog because you know it's I don't want the other dog to like attack your dog, but just to do a correction like a growl or a snarl or snap at your dog, that's just basically telling your dog, hey, that's not appropriate. I don't like what you're doing. You're invading my personal space, and that's totally fine. To the extent possible, we want to let the dogs communicate and let them work it out without actually fighting. But if your dog gets a correction and doesn't take the hint and doesn't back away, then yes, I would leash him and give him a timeout, give him a break. Um, and then if he um, goes and does it again, then it's another timeout. And so you kind of have to just keep doing it. Like in puppy class, when we do this, when I have like two dogs, I'll let two at a time kind of play. Some dogs only need one timeout and they get the hint, and then they learn how to like calm down and alter their play style. Some dogs we have to continue to time out a lot. Um, so yeah, you just have to kind of keep doing it. Um, and you can do some impulse control stuff too, like have your dog sit and wait, and then unleash your dog and let them go play. Um, and I mean, if your dog is really not doing anything wrong except following, and the other dog is getting aggressive, I honestly don't think I would let my dog hang out with that dog because um, if your dog's really not being inappropriate and is just following around, and the other dog's getting aggressive, we don't want anything bad to happen to where your dog is then going to have a negative experience with dogs. Does that make sense? So, um, so I would just maybe say, okay, they don't like each other. They're not going to be able to play. So we're just going to leave it at that. Um, but you could also try doing some things like parallel walks together. So have both dogs on leash and let them walk side by side. Um, and just not let them like off leash together until they kind of get used to each other. And I would probably want to know like, is your friend's dog like a lot older? Um, things like that. Because maybe it's a pain response, or I know like Maddie, my dog Maddie's 11, and she does not like she doesn't love puppies climbing on her and trying to play because she's 11. So I usually will give her a break and redirect the puppy to play with a different dog or do something else. Um, and then sometimes I just like totally separate them. So if they're not showing like really good body language and the other dog is getting aggressive, I would probably not have them interact because not all dogs love all other dogs. And it might just be that situation where, um, they just don't like each other and they're just not going to get along. So yeah, try to do a little bit more frequent timeouts. You could also do like if your dog is off leash and following, you could redirect your dog, like do a come front, which means the dog comes and sits in front of you and gets a treat. So the dog gets rewarded for doing something different. So anything other than following the other dog, I would reward your dog. So if your dog goes and sniffs something else, reward. If your dog checks in with you, reward. If you can get your dog to do a come front, some people call it a front sit, reward your dog. So anything other than following the other dog, I would reward for that. Um, so then remember, behavior that is rewarded is more likely to continue. So then that behavior will continue. And I would also see if you can find other dogs for your dog to play with. Because it looks like your dog just wants to play and is following this dog around, and this other dog just doesn't want to play. So getting like appropriate playmates for your puppy or for your dog that can match your dog's play style and energy is going to be good and important too. Um, yeah, and Marion's got some guarding breeds that are escape artists. Um, yeah, sometimes it's hard. Right now, I've actually not had anybody escape for like 6 months. So, um, luckily, knock on wood, it has worked. Like I've fixed every place that the dogs could get out, and I just try to make the yard fun. So we do like nose work in the grass. Um, I do practice a leave it and a recall if they go near the fence. Things like that. I have a pool in the yard for them. So I just try to make it a fun place to be so that they don't want to escape. Um, oh, Yumi says, yes. So your friend's dog is 5 and yours is 1.5, 1.5. So it's kind of like if you're a teenager and you have a 4-year-old brother or sister that's following you around all the time and annoying you, it's like the same thing. It's so they do get annoyed and sometimes they might be like, "Oh my gosh, would you stop following me?" And no, you can't play with me. And another dog that's younger that can play with your dog. And at 5, depending on the breed and things like that, I mean that dog could be starting to get some joint issues, back issues, have pain. And if that dog just doesn't feel good, he's not going to like an adolescent teenager following him around. So, yeah, that makes total sense. Um, Now, that being said, I have 2 3-year-olds that do really well with puppies. Like they play really well, but then when they've had enough, they'll kind of like correct and then go kind of off on their own. But the puppies always back off, and if they don't, then I, give the puppies a timeout. So yeah, see if you can find a dog that your dog can play with, but will have more of the same like energy level. Um, okay. I'm gonna do one more quick thing through and make sure I answered everything. Emily, how's your new dog going? Emily has a foster fail. I'm probably gonna have a foster fail. Um, and Nicole's gonna go have chicken tonight for Wilma's birthday. Let's see. Does anybody else have any questions before we do the drawing and we sign off? Sorry, I've had a hard time getting my sentences out. My mom was in a car accident yesterday, and so I left the clients and like literally ran down to Salt Lake and stayed the night. And I've had like zero sleep, so I'm a little sleep deprived. Okay. Just want to make sure that I didn't miss anybody's question. Sometimes I'll skip to answer the same person's question and then I forget to go back. And Yumi, yep, Kip, oh, you're from Florida. Okay, thank you. Yeah, whenever you have unwanted behavior, think about what do I want my dog to do instead, and then reward that behavior. Um, and as humans, I see this all the time, and I used to do this too. We kind of ignore our dogs when they're being good, and then we only pay attention when they're being bad, and then we try and like I'm going to use the word punish. Um, but we forget to reward them when they're being good. So when your dog is doing something that you really like, make sure you reward that because behavior that is rewarded and reinforced is going to continue. So we want to always take, that's why when I'm walking and it's not pulling, I will reward the heck out of that dog for walking and not pulling me. So that they learn that, oh, when I walk nicely on a leash, I get lots of treats, or she lets me sniff a bush, or things like that. When my really hyper dogs are relaxing on a bed and being calm, I reward them and I'll say, oh, good calm, thank you, good job. And I will reward that instead of, you know, maybe barking at the neighbor for mowing his lawn or things like that. So yeah, keep like focus on that good behavior and reinforce that, and that's gonna help. Okay, Renee, I need advice on reactive labradoodle while leash was growling lunges at strangers and kids especially. Okay, um, so that is not really a short answer, but I will condense it as much as I can. However, Pupford has a reactive dog course that we did, and all of the tools that you need are in that course. So everything that I'm about ready to talk about is in that course. So you could actually go through that course. So, so you say wild leash. So I'm assuming that when your dog is off leash, um, then your dog's fine. A lot of dogs are more reactive on leash because either out of fear or lack of socialization or something. But when we have them on leash, we take away their flight option, so they feel like all they have left to do is react. So the first thing I do is teach a dog a relaxation protocol on a mat. So I teach the dog how to remain calm on a mat with increasing distraction. And then I do the engage disengage exercise, which is like the look at that. So I start at whatever distance I need to start where the dog can just look at another dog or a person or a kid and stay calm. So if that's 20 feet or 20 yards, that's where you start. And then the dog like look, and I'll just say stranger. I'll just use kid. So your dog looks at the kid, and you click and treat. I do use a clicker for this. I use a clicker for everything, but a lot of people don't like to use clickers. But if for this exercise, I do especially because the sound of the click helps the dog disengage. So they look at the dog and you're clicking for them just noticing the kid. And then they hear the click and they're like, oh, I heard the click. Where's my treat? And it helps them to look away and then look at you. And then eventually your dog can look at the kid and automatically disengage and look at you. And that's what we want is we want the dog to learn to disengage on his own and check in with you. And then we can kind of turn that into like an auto check-in or an auto focus so that anytime your dog feels uneasy about something, they check in with you and you can reward them for that. So Renee, if you want, I do have that handout. Engage different, just email me and say, I'm putting my email in right now. Um, just say I need the engage disengage handout. Um, and so I would do that. And then if your dog can do 20 feet, I do that like 5 or 10 times, and then I'll take one step closer. And one step means one step. When I tell clients, okay, move one step closer, they'll go 1, 2, 3. But there's a lot of distance. If you take 3 big steps, you want to go like one step and then do it at that space. And then do that 5 or 10 times. If your dog starts to react or doesn't take treats or can't disengage, then you need to back up. So then you need to increase distance. But if your dog is doing really good at that distance, then you can go one step closer. With kids, especially if you don't know them, for liability reasons, I wouldn't do this. But if I would start with people and maybe friends or people that you know and that you know can stay calm. Also, look at your dog and read their body language. But once I get close, I start tossing treats to the dog. So I did this yesterday, or what's today? I did this Monday. What day was it? Yes, no, it was yesterday. Sorry, this whole week's a blur. It was yesterday. So I did this with a human aggressive dog. Once I got close enough, I started tossing treats to the dog, and then I eventually held out my hand with a treat, and I allowed the dog the option of coming up and taking the treat, which he did, and then I slowly started to pet under his chin. So I've had 2 sessions with this dog, and the second session, I was finally able to pet the dog and be fine. There are some dogs that I've had 2 or 3 sessions with, and I still can't pet them, but they can come out and be calm around me and not like lunge and bark and growl. So yeah, I would do the engage, disengage, and then practice different things. So, like if your dog goes over threshold and starts to lunge, then to say, "Oh, let's go," and you don't want to be like, "Oh my gosh, let's go," because if you're stressed and nervous, your dog's going to be too. So you want to be as calm and just be like, "Okay, come on, we're going this way, let's go," and just turn and go the other way, and increase distance. Because if your dog is not taking treats and is reacting, then they're not learning and they're too close, and you want to increase distance. A good place to practice is like at a vet clinic or at a Petco, PetSmart, some place where dogs are going to be going in and out. And you can even do it from the parking lot from a distance and have them like just look at people. Oh yeah, yours okay. So your dog is more reactive towards people, so you could basically go anywhere. Like Home Depot doesn't have to be a place with dogs, and just do the engage disengage whenever your dog sees another person, and then you can slowly start to get a little closer. So do you, let me know if you have any questions on that, and email me and I'll send you the engage disengage handout. Um, oh, so Julie's dog's had a play date with a mastiff. That's awesome. I love mastiffs. My neighbor has one and he's beautiful. Um, I think they're awesome dogs. I love them. Okay, let's see. Ellie was yelping and nipping at him. He was playing with her nicely. That's awesome. That's good. I'm really fortunate right now that I have 3 dogs that have really good play skills and body language skills, and I couldn't ask for 3 better dogs right now to take the puppy class, to be board and train with. Um, like if I have to work, I can send the puppies out with my dogs, and I know they're going to play nice, and we're not going to have any problems. So it's super nice when you have that really good dog that your dogs can play with and have good social skills. It makes it so much easier. Okay, Renee, you're very welcome, and yeah, let me know if I can help or answer any other questions. But I will send you that handout, and then check out the reactive dog course, because that will help you too, and it will go through, and you'll actually have like videos and things to help. And if you ever want to do like a private session, like I do private Zoom consults, and I have videos on everything as well, so I can actually show you what it looks like. And I do give discounts to all of the pupper people, so you'll get a discount. But yeah, when COVID hit, I spent some time recording everything with my dogs, so that I could show videos. And plus, I'm a visual learner, so I do better if I can like actually see it than like read it. So I have to have pictures and demonstrations, but that's just how I learn. So, okay, let's do a drawing. And then if there's no more questions, we'll let everybody go. Um, I'm still working on, for you guys that are just joining, I'm trying to teach my dog Jade how to like pick a name out of a bowl. We're still working on it. It's a work in progress. She either wants to take it and eat it, or she takes like a whole mouthful. She hasn't learned yet how to just take one. So we're still working. Um, So tonight's winner is David Beltier from Oregon. So congratulations, David. So what you're going to do is email hello@pupford.com, and I will email them as well and let them know that you're the winner, and they will send you a free bag of training treats. If there's a flavor you haven't tried yet, you can try a new one. Um, and if you haven't tried any of them, this is your chance. I use the salmon the most just because I do a lot of behavior aggression stuff and I want something really high value, and the salmon smells the most. But plus it's always then it's kind of it's not greasy or messy, but the sound or the smell is in my hands, and then dogs like me because I smell like salmon. So it's a win-win. So yeah, congratulations. And everybody have a great week. I hope you guys all had a good 4th of July and that your dog all survived the fireworks. I live about 2 miles from a rodeo grounds, and it's like rodeo month here. And we have fireworks a lot. So luckily, my dogs don't care about them, but I do have a new foster, and I've got some puppy board and train. So we did get to do some training. Um, and hopefully your dogs all survived. My friend's dog was hiding in the closet, so yeah, there's definitely some dogs that don't like it. So hopefully y'all had a nice 4th, and your dogs all survived. So we will see you guys next Wednesday, same time, same place, 6 o'clock. Come ready with your questions. I'm happy to answer them. If something you have questions with something during the week, feel free to email me, and I will do my best to answer. So everybody have a great night, and I'll see you all next week.